So how do I reach to that state of happiness? Happiness equals something. From whether I am indulging in a burrito or in a lab or whatever I am doing, I am constantly in that in a blissful state. And wherever I am 100% present, available, giving my best to that situation. How do I reach there? What's the time?
8.
So I have about 20 more minutes, right? 8:30, okay. Do you want to get there? Not to 8:30. I'm talking about the state of happiness. 8:30 effortlessly we will reach. How do we reach there? So there are beautiful steps given, simple steps. Find yourself the definition of independence and freedom. The first step. How would you define freedom? What would you define as freedom? Now he'll be hesitant to say anything because I have roasted his burrito. But it was a good discussion, right?
Absolutely.
Huh. How would you define freedom? Usually. Okay, good. Go ahead.
It would be engaging engaging or interacting with something without that external thing having power over you.
Engaging in with something.
So like eating or watching TV without the external situation having power over.
Without the external stimulus having power over you, that you become a slave of it.
Yes.
Okay. For many of us, the way we would define is that happiness or independence or freedom is that and I can do whatever I feel like doing, however long I feel like doing, and repeat that experience without a hindrance from any external stimulus. And that would be called as freedom. Usually that is how we define. And wherever we find a hindrance to that freedom, that sense of independence, we start resisting, we start reacting, we start revolting against. And usually it starts from way back from home. And what would they insist? Stop anything that you are doing and do what they want you to do. And what did they want you to do?
Clean your bed.
Okay, clean your bed. Study. What else? Stop some things. Stop playing. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. So you feel very, suffocated, curtailed from all directions. Why? My freedom is blocked. I would like to point out one of my favorite favorite movie, and that happens to be Matrix. Have you seen? I'm sure you have. especially the first version, the first part of it, of the three parts, the first part, wherein Morpheus tells Neo that we are bound by something. We are bound by something that which we cannot see, feel, touch, or taste. And bound in that, we try finding freedom by being a slave, which will not be a possibility. And to illustrate that, he takes them to the construct, where they have the first duel or a bout. And he's quick to adapt, Neo. So he runs across the pole, goes overboard, flips. And Morpheus just looks at him, comes across that side and slams him across, kicks him. And Neo is like, flabbergasted. He's like, how did he do it? So Morpheus bends down and asks, do you think I was faster than you? Is that what happened just now? And he says something. Neo is really overwhelmed by that kick and he's breathing very heavy. He says, is that even the breath that you're breathing? Is that even real? Because many times what we get engaged in, caught up in, giving it the validity that it is so real that I don't want to get out of it to experience the real freedom. So Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji used to define freedom in a very funny manner. It took me a while to grasp that thought. He used to say, freedom is not doing what you feel like is a true sense of freedom. Not doing what you feel like is called freedom. I think there was one of the US presidents. He explains that with an example. I don't know, he loved peanuts. Do you know which one of those presidents liked peanuts a lot? And he was a farmer before he became a president. Okay, whoever, you can Google it up. He says, freedom is to eat one salted peanut and then stop. Amazing definition given ever. To eat one salted peanut and stop. Let's take in our own life, right? If you open a chip packet, when do you stop?
Bag is empty.
When the bag is empty, it doesn't matter how big the bag is or how small the bag is, right? It goes on and on and on. In fact, they even tease us. And what is the tagline? You can't just stop with one. You have to continuously keep eating. What's that?
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Okay. Once you pop, you can't stop.
The Pringles commercial.
Yeah. I remember that. Because it's so enticing that you cannot just stop with one. The freedom is to be able to identify, make use of it, and stop at will. Do you all drive your cars efficiently? Meaning when you want to turn it left, it turns left. When you want it to stop, it stops. When you want it to race up forward. Let me ask this will be a good test. When you see green, what do you do? Go. When you see red, what do you do?
Stop.
When you see yellow, what do you do?
Speed up.
Shivani, you have to learn from the others.
Heaven forbid I follow the law.
So yes, now I agree that most of you or all of you drive. So when you want to turn it whichever direction, does it turn? Sometimes, when people are learning in the initial days, there was this lady who had come from India. And this was near the ashram that I live. I was going for a jog, and that entire area is filled with a lot of Indians. So the husband was trying to teach, and she was learning how to turn. But she was so tensed holding the wheel that the way she turned was, with the wheel, she was like, she couldn't let go those. And I couldn't but observe that and laugh for a while. What would the husband must have felt, riding along with her? It almost feels like impossible to find the balance in that car. Similarly is the example of riding your bike. Initially, when you look at the bike, somebody riding on a bike, it almost feels impossible. How can you find balance on two moving wheels? It's only later that you come to realize that as long as the wheels are moving at certain speed, it is easier to maintain balance, and the moment it starts slowing down, it's difficult to maintain balance. Back in India, growing up, there was one competition. It was called slow cycle race. Do you have that here too? It's very difficult. And you cannot do you cannot go in a backward motion, and you have to always keep moving forward, and you have to go so slow in one straight line. It's very difficult. It's only when the wheels are rolling at a certain speed to maintain balance is easy. Now, similarly, do we have the accessibility on our freedom over our mind or our organs of perception and action to use them in the field when I want it, as long as I want it, not because I feel so. It's because I know that I need this equipment to be used in that direction. I can use it and I can withdraw from it as well. Without any external stimulus, without any jump start processes. Because when you come to the university, I see all these cans of Red Bull or caffeine or caffeinated drinks. Why? It keeps you awake, energized. And there are some I see their hands are shivering, but they have to keep themselves awake, so they keep popping it up. Some of the caffeine had an inverse effect on me. I would drink coffee. And coming from a South Indian family, wherein our nights end with dinner with coffee, and drink coffee and sleep well. It never had an impact. Otherwise, you need some kind of an external stimulus to keep oneself awake, especially during your times of exams. Without such external stimulus, to keep the mind, to keep the organs of mind and the organs of action and perception in such alignment that I order them to function in a field, they function and they withdraw. I had seen one particular master, Guruji, Tejomananji. It's not just about functioning in the field, but also to withdraw it with will. Now, how many of us have trouble waking up in the morning? I know the answer. If waking up is difficult, sleeping in should be easy, right? Usually that's how it is. Right? You can do one part of it or not do one part of it. The other side of it should be easier. But somehow with sleep, both becomes difficult. Sleeping in is difficult as well as waking up is difficult. Now this person, Guruji, when He said, wake me up and come back into my room. I'll start dictating letters so that you can start taking notes. Come back in half an hour. Now I'm tired. So I'd seen him work like really long hours. I was like, maybe I'll go a little later. You don't feel really good when somebody is sleeping, you to wake them up. So I was sitting outside his room. I saw him get into his bed and he was off. So I said I didn't want to disturb him, so I was sitting outside. 32nd minute, he opens the door. I said, did I not ask you to come in after half hour? He was up fresh. To have that kind of accessibility is the first step to find that happiness. Do we have that kind of accessibility?